Hello, I'm Bill Shoke, President and CEO of WestPay. Welcome to the Payments Perspective Podcast, where we help you to navigate your payments journey one episode at a time. We bring together industry leaders to discuss timely and relevant payments topics and explore the most important issues impacting our industry. The Payments Perspective Podcast is brought to you by WestPay, where our mission is to build and share knowledge to guide members through their payments journey, from concept to operation.
Hello, welcome back to the Payments Perspective Podcast by WestPay. My name is Carmen Murphy. I am a Vice President of Events and Education at WestPay. Today, I am pleased to welcome Brian Keefe with NICE Actimize. Our topic today is going to be how to get started on instant payments. So, Brian, I wanted to give you a quick second to introduce yourself to our crowd.
Thank you, Carmen. My name is Brian Keefe. I am one of the solutions consultants here at NICE Actimize. I have a good history behind my background being a financial investigator with the government as well as the private sector. So hopefully with some of the conversation today, I can give you some insight into the faster payments, RTP, and FedNow as well.
Awesome. Well, I know that at least from my perspective, instant payments, and you mentioned RTP and FedNow are all the rage. It's what everybody's talking about. And one of the biggest questions that we hear at WestPay is, why should I even start considering to participate in one of the instant payments networks?
So that's a great question we get from a lot of our prospective clients is the involvement and the introduction into the RTP, the instant payments world. We see, and we hear from our clients and during symposiums or other places that consumer and business demand for real-time payments is certainly growing. We call it the faster lives need faster payments. So with that, we look at some of the institutions that we deal with from the enterprise side all the way down to probably the audience here, the mid-market and the smaller financial institutions have a once in a generation opportunity to get into that growing market, whether it be from consumer or corporate demand for the real-time payment capabilities and become relevant in the marketplace. We know that with the demand on faster payments, it's reached a new heights with consumers and businesses as well, being the growth of the digital world, bringing in individuals from businesses to people, the different ways that the technology and capabilities can be used are beyond our reach and beyond our expectations. We see that 70% of consumers want faster payment capabilities from their institution to be able to diversify and grow with how they do daily life, as well as the institutions grow in the products and services they're able to offer their clients with the satisfaction in bringing in new clients, broadening out their horizons within the footprint of their particular institution and broadening out as well from there. Consumers, again, 47% we look at want that instant payment distribution offered by their institution, which is going to certainly increase the demand and supply from others. The instant distributions is the first choice of a variety of age groups, from the millennials all the way up to the Gen Zs. We look at 65% and 50% respectively. Brings in consumer loyalty. We know that institutions thrive and grow on the increase in the amount of individuals, whether it be consumers or businesses that are doing business within their institution. So it's there's a lot of different advantages for an institution to offer the real-time capability. So we'll talk about the growths and things such as that, but those are some of the main advantages and why someone should get in to the RTP world, whether it be through the clearinghouse, through the FedNow, or a combination of the two.
Yeah, and that's a good lead in to my next thought is, RTP, Real-Time Payments Network from the clearinghouse has been out now for several years. And so it's established. And we know we've got folks using it. FedNow from the Federal Reserve is out, this summer. So it's a baby. It's still an infant. And one of the questions I think that comes up a lot is, do I have to choose one or the other? Do they operate together? Do folks need to choose one or the other, or can they do both?
I would say for an institution, they could choose both because they're going to offer somewhat the same services on different payment rails. So when we talk about RTPs, those are, say, the services such as the Zelles, the Squares, those products and services that you may use on your phone to send payments to a prospective client, or you want to settle some sort of a bill that you may have. That's the RTP world, where that goes through the clearinghouse. The Fed now brings in a new payment rail that institutions maybe that didn't have access to the clearinghouse, because the clearinghouse is owned by some of the major banks in the world, the JP Morgans and others of their size have that agreement, that faster payment rail between the institutions. So it wasn't available to the smaller and mid-market banks, but now at the Fed now, it's available to anybody, that whether it be small, medium, or large. So you didn't need to rely on the clearinghouse to perform these RTP services. Now you can utilize your own products that you may develop in-house and utilize that FedNow payment rail. So it's certainly an advantage of using both, because you have many more products and services you can offer your clients to, again, develop growth and a variety of other advantages within the RTP world.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I mean, you hit on it just really quickly, but you mentioned that it's a brand new payments rail, right? And so I think that's one thing that we want to make sure that everybody knows and understands. Just like checks and wires are different, they are a way to pay somebody money, but they're a completely different system. And so the cool thing for me, being a geriatric millennial, is that it's the first new payment system or payment rail in my lifetime, which is it's exciting and it's new. And I think that financial institutions really need to jump on it and get a part of it, because the last thing you want is for everybody else in the space to be on it and have you say, we don't offer that. This is not something that we can give you. And so that's, just from my perspective, but I'm a big early adopter of almost all technology. So
Same am I. I'll be the guinea pig and the beta tester for whatever people want me to take part in.
Absolutely. So you talk a lot about the advantages of picking both, right? In that you can access different financial institutions on the different networks, which I think is a good awareness, because if there's folks or an FI out there that's on RTP and you only have FedNow, you're not going to be able to send an instant payment with that, because obviously you're on different rails. We have a lot of folks who are really interested in implementing real-time payments or FedNow, and they have expressed they're just not sure where to start. So do you have any insight, or can you share anything with us on how does a financial institution get on board with instant payments, and who needs to be involved at the financial institution?
Yeah, for those new institutions that don't offer RTP now, whether it be through the clearinghouse and they're bringing in FedNow, it's sort of a daunting task to understand from the beginning stages of whether it be the infrastructure. We talk about a lot of different areas that are impacted for an FI, large or small, when they bring on a new service. So you look at implementing a new payment system requires significant investment in technology and infrastructure and staffing and a variety of other areas in order to be able to properly accommodate and monitor the new services they're offering. So we look at, I think one of the main areas is the infrastructure, the systems that they're utilizing today. A lot of them in the smaller FIs are doing things in-house. They're doing things through servers. We look at upgrading that, or we see that they need upgrades in their legacy systems, whether it be within their institution or utilizing cloud services now, because clouds are a way that an institution can upgrade certain areas of their payment systems, as well as the solutions they may use, like a NICE Actimize system, in order to monitor those transactions that go through the FedNow system or the RTP. So that's one major area.
Mm-hmm.
You then look at so you bring in IT and probably compliance folks to ensure that you have the proper system in place, again, cloud or in-house, to be able to initially offer those services. And then you look at some of the other areas where if you don't have visibility in your clientele of that you are offering this, you would certainly need to bring in, say, a marketing individual
Mm-hmm.
and those in the product development to, if you're not offering the RTP services through the clearinghouse like a Zelle, and you develop your own product that you want to offer and utilize the FedNow system, you would then need individuals that are familiar with developing it, whether it be a mobile app or computer app or other access points for that new service. So that's marketing and product development. We then look at the security side of it. So you then have the infrastructure you want to offer with marketing and product development, but you need now something that's going to monitor those activities to ensure that you're not subject to fraud or you're in compliance for what the government and other regulatory bodies to ensure that the money is safe from end to end. So you want to bring in compliance and security folks to ensure that you are meeting the mark or exceeding the mark for your new services and products that you want to offer. I think last but not least within this is looking at it from a perspective, real-time payments are instantaneous and they don't just happen during business hours. Right. They happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So you would then want to, again, bring in your compliance and fraud folks to ensure that you have the personnel to back up the type of services you want to offer. Because fraudsters out there are willing to stay up late at night when you and I are in bed and dreaming great dreams. They're scheming against each and every one of us and understanding the vulnerabilities that an institution may have, especially those that are new to these type of RTP products and services. You need to be able to have people on staff or a solution that's able to monitor that in real time, so you can curb those fraud risks that you may have.
Yeah.
So those, I think, are the 4 or 5 major areas and in individuals that need to be involved in the initial rollout of an RTP product.
Yeah. And those are awesome suggestions. Previously to working at WestPay, I worked at a community credit union and we were famous for building everything ourselves, right? Like exactly what you're describing. And we had all those folks around the table and we spent years building apps and things. And we were lucky that we had some software people that could do that. But I think that can also be intimidating to some of our maybe smaller FIs who don't have resources like that. So, I also want to put it out there and plant the seed. There are bankers banks and corporate credit unions and things like that that can help as well, where you may feel intimidated to build all those things yourselves. So there are options, I think, for all sizes. And exactly what you described, Brian, having those people around the table is going to be huge in deciding how you access these channels.
Absolutely.
So how long, in your experience, how long do you think that it takes to sign up or to kick off a project like this? How long is the runway in your experience?
In my experience, I'll give it from, I think, 2 perspectives. The one that I know very well is from the product side, from a solution that we would offer to different FIs in order to cover the fraud angle of it. And that could take a year, 18 months, perhaps even 2 years to properly institute the system of their choice to ensure that they're meeting or exceeding those regulatory boundaries where you would want to protect your institution against outbound and inbound transactions. But that's sort of at the tail end of it, I would say. So 18 months right now, but you would want to consider a lot of different areas. How long it's going to take you to upgrade your infrastructure to meet or exceed what these RTP services need in real-time payments. You would then need to establish agreements with those payment rails, whether it be with the clearinghouse or with FedNow or both. You would then need to bring in, again, the customer education, the advertisement of your new products and services, customer education, another portion of it, because we know that those that aren't familiar with the digital world and how fast things move, you need to educate your consumers or your clients on the proper use and safeguarding their day-to-day activity on these payment rails. We go back to, again, bringing in new personnel, perhaps those that are specialized in detecting the fraud angle of this new process you're offering. And then coming to where I come in is the providing or getting a solution, a holistic solution that would be able to meet or exceed the products and services you offer. So there's a lot of things in movement. For our angle, it would certainly take you 18 months to bring us in, and it would just, you'd have to understand what are the other areas that need to be, like the infrastructure, how long would it take you to do that, and the other areas that I touch upon. So at a minimum, it's probably going to take you a year and a half to institute a new product.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I think the important thing, for our listeners is if you don't already have a plan for this, it's time. It's time to start a plan for this. Because as you mentioned, Brian, the lead time is significant and you want to do a good job. You want to do it right. And you want, like you said, to take that time and make sure that you're doing it in a compliant way and not opening yourselves up to fraud as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, because there's a lot of advantages that we spoke of briefly, whether it be increased cash management, the competitive advantage over your customers, business expansion, cost reductions. Those are all areas that you would want to be part of. So in order to bring something successfully into your institution, it's going to take you some time to develop the proper process and business plan for that.
Absolutely. And give it, the attention it deserves.
Absolutely.
Well, Brian, thank you for joining us today. As we wrap up, I want to make sure you have an opportunity to help us understand who NICE Actimize is and what you do for the industry. Okay.
So here at NICE Actimize, we are one of the largest and broader providers of financial crimes, risk and compliance solutions for regional and global financial institutions, where we provide real-time cross-channel fraud detection, anti-money laundering detection, as well as trade surveillance solutions that can address such concerns as payment fraud, cybercrime, sanctions monitoring, market abuse, customer due diligence, and insider training. So you can see we have a lot of the areas covered end to end with the various solutions that we offer here at NICE Actimize.
That's wonderful. And for our listeners, we will put contact information for NICE Actimize in the description for the podcast. So please go ahead and be sure you visit that if you'd like more information. I'd also want to thank our members for listening in. If you are interested in becoming a member of WestPay, please visit our membership page by following the link in the podcast description or find us at westpay.org. You can subscribe to the Payments Perspective podcast anywhere podcasts are available. And please join us next time as we continue to work together in shaping the future of payments.